I had a lovely exchange with this gentleman here, and he made this comment, is that the gospel is in Acts, after, him basically saying that the gospel's only started in Acts. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that's just Jesus talking to the Jews. So nothing Jesus says there applies. It all begins in Acts. And then he asks me this question, are you born again? I assume he's being facetious, because the reference to being born again is in John. One of the same gospels that he says isn't a gospel. So am I born again? So I'm going to answer that question with a question is, do you know what that means? What Jesus is talking about when he says, you must be born again to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Take a look at John chapter 3, verse 3, when he says, and Jesus answered and said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Now he's talking to Nicodemus, who's a Pharisee, and the Pharisees did believe in the resurrection. It was the Sadducees that did not believe in the resurrection. But even though Jesus uses language such as this, Nicodemus immediately goes to thinking in his natural mind, well, can a man go back into his mother's womb and be born again? Surely that's not what you're talking about. But seeing that you've done these miracles, things that no man can do, then maybe that is what you're talking about. Is that what you're talking about? And then Jesus says, verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. So what he's referring to here is a type and a shadow, right? A baptism, which is the type and the shadow of death and resurrection. Death with him and a resurrection into his glory. So are you born again? Am I born again? The simple answer to that question is no. None of us are born again yet until he returns with his glory to restore the saints, to bring down the kingdom of heaven onto the earth. That's when we're born again, is when we die and are resurrected and or caught up and changed in a twinkling of an eye. This is exactly what he's talking about, this being born again, because that's at that point we are going to see the kingdom of God. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of spirit is spirit. So that's why baptism is important, and that also goes into a whole nother conversation about what that means exactly. But it's a type and a shadow, exactly like every other commandment is a type and a shadow of the things to come, of the hope to come. This is why we must be obedient to the commandments of God, so that we can see that glory on that day when New Jerusalem comes down. But without his commandments, and without being baptized in his baptism and being baptized with his death, we cannot hope to be also partakers of his resurrection, because he is the first fruits of that resurrection. We're the most holy portion. That's what he's coming back for. But if we haven't kept the covenant, then he's not coming back for us. He's coming back for a bride without blemish, a set apart bride, a holy bride, not a disobedient and lawless bride. He's coming back for his people, his sheep, the ones that hear and his voice and hearken to his commands and follow and obey him.